I mean, do you know how insecure and pathetic you sound? You can't take you seriously.
Eat another donut,
I get
lady.
that I'll just finish. You
can't
go
say
out
anything back.
into the big wide world from behind your macho
Well, one day when I go out in the big wide
there.
world, I hope people will take me as seriously as they do women who make zero arguments.
Wait, why are you on
a show
Piers
like
Morgan?
This.
Shouldn't you go be working right
Why
now
are
and making
you?
money for your family to support?
I am
How do you
working,
have time to
making
I'm
a ton
working.
of money.
I don't
What
have
are you
kids.
talking about?
I don't have a husband.
It
Oh,
would
show
make
us your
you
bank
weep.
account to make yourself feel more secure.
It would make you weep. Yeah, hey, the only thing you could think of was to try to assault my bank account, lady.
I genuinely don't care if today you're a woman, tomorrow you're a man, the next day you want to identify as a cat or a dog. I really don't, like, it's not my issue. Like, yes, women
live
should
and
cook
let
and
live
clean,
till
but
it
if they're
comes
not
to the
perfect,
transgenders,
if they're not perfect,
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's
I
crazy.
do live and let live.
till
Don't
it
play
comes
in
to
my
the
sport. I don't care if you're transgender.
It's just because of men like you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's men because of men like me. I know. It's men like me. The ones who actually reproduce. It's because of men like me who actually reproduce. I get it. That makes sense.
So what do you suggest? Should women just start like walking around
Can you
getting
reproduce?
knocked up?
Do you
I'm
even
so
have a
confused.
uterus to reproduce? Do you even have a uterus to reproduce? But anyway, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Check out this video of Andrew Wilson completely obliterating this feminist activist, Julie Bynell, on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show. He puts this woman in place on her I hate men narrative. Don't take my word for it. Watch this video and check this out. This right here is a good one.
Do you know how...
Okay, Julie, you wanted to jump in there.
I mean, do you know how insecure and pathetic you sound? You can't take you seriously.
Eat another donut,
I get
lady.
That I'll just finish. I get that you reckon that you're some big shock jock, and I know that you're desperately trying to be relevant, but you sound so insecure and so pathetic. You are
Do you have an
Sounds very
argument?
insecure.
Can you put the Duncan down for a second and give me an argument? Do you have an argument? Or is it just
Sorry,
Andrew
I haven't heard
bad?
one from you.
Yes, I've given you multiple arguments for the social fabric of all of society and how we can improve it, what we need to be doing, what we need to be moving towards. I gave you all the stats. I gave you argument after argument. Can you give me a single argument?
All the stats. You are the oracle. You know all about the universe and what's going to progress humankind. You're just a shock
it's
jock,
not
mate.
psychic ability.
You're just pathetic. Nobody's going to
No
listen
arguments.
to you. You're
When
an
are you going
aggressive,
to have an
insecure
argument?
man.
I'm going to tell you what's going to
We're not
happen. This
taking
is
you
going to go
seriously.
Well, this is going to go viral, and a lot of people are going to take me seriously, and all they're going to remember is that I told you that you couldn't put down the Dunkin' Donuts long enough to make an argument. Now, can you make one or not?
Oh, you know, this is schoolboy
By the way,
tactic.
a real
It's
man
schoolboy.
doesn't speak down to a woman the way
I don't
you
care
do.
what you think
You're
a
not
real
a real man.
is.
You're actually
I
very
don't care
feminine
what
if
you
you
think
ask
a real
me.
man
You're
is.
a
Don't
very
care.
feminine man.
Yeah, nobody cares what you think real men are.
You're
You sound super
pathetic,
feminine.
mate.
Yeah.
And how
Nobody cares what you think a real man is.
that you're such
I'm
a
sure your wife's
big
very happy
boy
at
by slating, bringing in
You're so mad.
personal insults about women's
You start. Hey,
I'm actually
appearance.
very
I'm
happy
sorry.
right now.
I'm sorry. You guys
I
think that you
feel
can
for
assault
you
people.
when
We
you
can't
go
say
out
anything
in
back.
into the big wide world from behind your macho
Well, one day when I go out in the big
podcast
wide
studio there.
world, I hope people will take me as seriously as they do women who make zero arguments
Wait, why are you
on
on
a show
Piers
like this.
Morgan? Shouldn't you go be working right
Why
now
are
and
you?
making money for your
Why-
family to
I
support?
am
How do you have
working.
time to
Making
I'm
a ton
working.
of
I don't
money.
have
What are you
kids.
talking about?
I don't have a husband.
You're
I'm
saying that
23
you
years
can't
old.
make
I'm not
money?
married with kids yet, but it
you
seems
can't
like
make
you should go
money
be working
podcasting?
right now to fulfill your gender role as a big,
I
strong
am
man.
working right now.
Oh, we'll get to work.
Well, let
That's
me
what
ask-
I
let
do
me
for
ask,
a living. I
You're
don't know
not
what
being
you're
paid to
talking
be
about.
here.
Yes, lady. I'm going to get paid a lot of money ultimately to be here. You have no idea what you're talking about. If you saw my bank account, what I
Okay,
make doing
sure.
stuff like this, it would
You're
make
so
you
cool.
weep. It
Oh,
would
show
make
us your
you
bank
weep.
account to make yourself feel
It
more
would make
secure.
you weep. Yeah, hey, the only thing you could think of was to try to assault my bank account, lady.
Assault.
That's it. That's the only thing you
are
could think of. The
liberal.
only thing you
are
could
a
think of is you don't
feminine
work
man and you are
enough. You don't
liberal.
work enough. It's
Let
ridiculous.
me play. I want to play Emily. I want to play Emily a clip. This has gone viral too. It's had 120 million views. There's a woman who suggests she's about to leave her husband because he doesn't do enough domestic chores. Let's take a look.
If you do not participate in an equitable way in your home. And so what does that look like? What does it look like to change these dynamics? But we need to really assess in our homes what the work looks like. Because in most homes, the data supports this, women do a disproportionate amount of the work. They just do. They do more of the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and the childcare while also working full time. And men have more time for things like their hobbies, like golf, for example, or just working out, running a marathon, right? And so we need to have hard conversations about what our time looks like, what our labor in the home looks like, what is invisible labor. We have to talk about these things. And when we don't, the alternative is that you no longer have a marriage, or you don't have a happy one at least. And so I share this story because I don't think I'm alone in this experience, and I want people to know that there's hope, and that if you have a willing and able partner, you can change this. You can absolutely change this.
I mean, Emily, I would personally, I would travel continents to avoid a lady like that. But what's your view of what she's saying?
To me, her rant, take away the gender for a moment, because I actually believe women are a lot messier than men, just in terms of our makeup, our clothing, the abundance of clothing that we have. I think we definitely purchase more accessories than men. And I think we also, like I said, there are gender roles I believe in should be responsible for most of the cleaning. Then on the other hand, if you're marrying a slob, A, you should know who you're getting into a household with. But B, if you're in a happy marriage and you have a sense of communication, why not just sit your partner down and be like, hey, I don't mind cleaning up after you, but when you throw your filthy socks on the bathroom sink or you leave your wet towel and we have mold, I'd appreciate if you could not do this. But I don't think it gets to an extent where like divorce is justifiable unless your husband is like a hoarding pig that's unbearable to live with. I think she's being a little bit dramatic here. And we all can acknowledge women are a bit messier than men, and it should be just like looking after one another. It's not a big deal to clean up after your partner, and that could go both ways. Not everything is so black or white.
Andrew?
Well, first of all, stay-at-home moms are mostly nowadays parking their kids in public school for most of the day. Oftentimes, the kids are taking buses from the city to the school and buses home. They're not even driving them. Okay, not even driving them. And they have fully furnished lunch, even breakfast at most of these public schools, right? They don't even have to send them with a lunch anymore. They have all day to do household chores while men are working. Right? No, women do not do a disproportionate amount of work in comparison to men. That's absurd. No labor statistic supports that. And even if we were to take household chores and put it on the table against a man's work, doesn't even come close, even with children, especially because you're parking them most of the time in a public school for most of the day. This lady who's making this TikTok, totally insane, completely disconnected from reality, has no idea how this actually works.
She's not totally
Julie,
insane.
your response to
You're
that.
going to make a choice to marry a girl who's going to cook and clean and do everything. And me as a woman, I'm going to make a choice to hire a housekeeper one day so that I don't have to cook and clean because that's my choice. The problem is you're too obsessed with other people's choices. Live and let live. Like, take a step back and recognize not everyone has to be as extreme as you are. Like, yes, women
live
should
and
cook
let
and
live
clean,
till
but
it
if they're
comes
not
to the
perfect,
transgenders.
if they're not perfect,
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's
I
crazy
do
that
live
you
and
guys
let live.
till
Don't
it
play
comes
in my
to the
story. I don't care if you're transgender. I don't care if you're transgender.
I don't understand.
Go for it.
It's live and
I'm not
let
marrying
live.
a transgender.
Let them go play their
Let
sports.
them live and let live. Absolutely.
Live and let live. You
no.
people contradict
That's not
yourselves so
equality.
much.
That's their
It's absurd.
superiority.
Yeah, it's
No,
not
I think you're
superiority.
just
What's
stupid
going on right
because I'm
now,
explaining myself and making sense.
the explanation makes no
Right, let me-
sense.
Transgenders
I saw
absolutely should live
Stacia
and let
wanting-
live. They should not participate in sports.
Let's
It's called a
Stacia-
boundary.
Andrew Wilson just obliterates this feminist conservative on this show. See, a lot of times nowadays, young women who are conservative pundits like to classify themselves as traditional or conservative, which they might be politically, but when it comes to the household and relationships, they're actually very liberal. They're not conservative at all. And Andrew Wilson completely obliterates this. This is something I've actually been talking about for a long time. She just said that she wants to come to a point where she's so successful at what she does, she just has a maid come in and do everything for her. This is what's going on nowadays in the West. A lot of women, they don't want to be mothers anymore in the traditional sense. They don't want to take care of the house in the traditional sense, and they don't want to follow and listen to their husbands in the traditional sense. They want to be boss babes. They want to be independent. They want to be independent of men. And this has led to why in the 1960s till today, we've had an increase in divorces. This is why 80% of divorces are invoked by women. And this is why the more income the more education a woman has, the more likely she is to divorce a man, because nowadays in the West, a lot of modern women, whether on the left politically or on the right politically, just do not care about men. They want to be boss babes, and they don't want to take care of the house, the family, the kids. This is why we have such a crisis of fatherless homes in America as well. They don't care about relationships. And this goes to show it. Prime example. Andrew Wilson is destroying these women on the Piers Morgan show.
Let Stasia talk. Stasia, you wanted to say something?
You're just all walking contradictions. It's crazy that you can even say something like that. You guys are all fighting with each other about live and let live, and we're having an entire conversation about trans people and their ability or lack of ability to be in sports. So it's wild to watch him with the cigarette, like think he's all pompous, and you over there acting like it's just ridiculous.
Hey, I'm the only one here who is consistent. I said I don't care if you people go in and beat the tar out of women. I don't care. Go do it. They voted for it. I think they need a taste of their own medicine. I think it's good for them. And maybe some of this madness will stop if they actually have to take accountability and deal with the consequences of their own voting.
You're actually insane. You're in
Stop.
your
I want to make it very
Ju-
clear. I don't care that you're transgender. I genuinely don't care if today you're a woman, tomorrow you're a man, the next day you want to identify as a cat or a dog. I really don't. Like, it's not my issue. But when you make it my issue, when you want to play in my sport, I was a tennis player my whole life. If a man came along who identified as a woman, who I will respect as a woman, I will respect your pronouns, but you want to now eradicate women's sports, now it's my problem too.
Just
as long as
live
it's
and
not my
let
problem
live,
and you go
man.
do you, live exactly. Thank you.
Just live and let live, man. We'll just be hippies and
Okay, let me
together
ask.
until
I
it
want to
affects
end by
you.
asking Julie. Okay, I want to end by asking Julie, because Julie, you've been talking about feminism for decades. We're now in a place, a strange place, I think, where women have more freedom to do all the things that maybe previous generations of women did not have freedom to do. And many, including me, actually, think that's a very good step forward. The only downside to this is that birth rates around the world are beginning to plummet to dangerously low levels. And Elon Musk keeps warning that if they carry on like this, it's going to be a very, very serious problem for the future of the planet. So let me just ask you, Julie, when you look at the progress that feminism has made, you can see so many ways that women's rights have been promoted in a better way. But are you concerned about the dropping birth rates and the fact that women no longer, because so many more are going out to work and everything else and prioritizing work perhaps over family, that birth rates ultimately are obviously going to reduce, and that ultimately that could be a very self-defeating thing for the planet?
We need to pay attention to the fact that many women, when they have children, have no support, no childcare, feckless fathers who leave if they're there in the first place, where there is very little maternity leave, hardly any financial security, particularly if that woman is in an abusive relationship and can't rely on that second wage coming into the home. So have a look at what will make it more attractive and feasible for women to have babies. And also have a look at the women who are choosing not to have babies because they don't want to be hitched to and trapped with a man who, quite frankly, isn't the love of her life because of his behaviour and because of his shortcomings. That's what we need to be doing.
Okay,
Piers, can I add
Stasia, I
something
want
too
to
that I
ask
think
you a
is
final
unfair
question.
that you haven't
Yeah,
answered?
I mean, Emily, I'll come to you and Andrew for final word in a minute. But Stasia, it just struck me as a question I wanted to ask you. How do you feel about drug cheats in sport? You know, when people are caught doping to enhance their performance, how do you feel about that?
Obviously, you know how I feel about that. You're baiting me to twist this around on the trans issue, and
I've no idea how you feel about it. I've never asked you. I've never asked you before. How do you feel about it?
Obviously, I'm not in support of people taking drug enhancements to do better in sports.
But why? Why are you not in support of that, given it just gives them an unfair advantage, which you want for trans athletes? What's the difference?
I see exactly what they're trying to do, and I'm not walking into it. It's very clear where my stance is with trans people. I don't support. I just think that you're trying to walk me into something, and it's not going to work for me.
So you don't support
great argument.
the
Now, I wanna add a
enhancement of
point.
performance through illegal drugs. Okay, that's good. We're halfway there, I think. Emily.
Yeah.
Piers, I just want to bring up a point that, and personally, I don't know the stats. I'd be very curious into looking into it, but I think it would be remiss to not mention the fact that many, many women, personally, I know a bunch, but I want to see the stats on it, are trying to have kids that are doing rounds of IVF, spending all of their money that they've saved up trying to have a kid, are infertile, are having miscarriages, never got their period. I think we also have a really serious health crisis going on, at least in the United States. I can't speak about the UK, that Bobby Kennedy is very well aware of, about hormones in the foods that are making it a lot harder for women to have children, because I know many, many women who would love to have a big, beautiful family, but can't even conceive their first child. So I don't know if it's necessarily everyone making a decision to not have kids, rather a health problem. And I'd advise everyone to look into that too.
It's totally absurd. So first of all, the reason they need IVF and things like this, because they defer families till they're in their 30s, right? It's not healthy for women to start having babies in their 30s.
No,
not a great idea.
That's not
Yes.
true.
Yeah, not only is it true,
I have
but
a 24-year-old friend who can't get pregnant.
I can statistically prove it. The exception doesn't make the rule. The truth of the matter is, you can even look at infant mortality rates. And in the United States, we have some of the highest in the world, and that is correlated directly to the fact that women are aged out of their 20s when they're having children. You can even see this in other nations as well. Back over to the TERF's argument, she says, well, wait a second, we should really be deferring to women and incentivizing women for more stuff that women want. We do this all the time. We defer to everything that is that they want. By the way, you have free tuition. You do get all sorts of free health care. And by the way, it's the poor people who have the most amount of children, not the middle class or the rich who do family planning. So this idea that you're just going to give the idea that you're just going to give women money and that's going, or some type of support in this way, and that's going to be what moves them towards children, is not true. Usually it's things like religion, religiosity, your key component to traditionalism, your idea of community has nothing to do with family leave. It has nothing to do with that. Never has. The birth rate's been dropping like this, like a rock, especially since the 1900s, right? But even in the 1800s. But now, since birth control especially, and women's liberation, the sexual revolution, it has dropped so drastically, we can't even reproduce the population. These aren't answers. You're not answering any problems. None.
It's just because of men like you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's men because of men like me. I know. It's men like me. The ones who actually reproduce. It's because of men like me who actually reproduce. I get it. That makes sense.
So what do you suggest? Should women just start like walking around
Can you reproduce? Do you
like,
do you even
so
have
confused.
a uterus to reproduce? Do you even have a uterus to reproduce? But anyway, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I just don't understand. What do you think is the solution? Women should just like kind of settle in their young 20s and just start popping out babies, even if they haven't necessarily met someone that's compatible for them yet, or vice versa?
I thought you were in an anti-natalist language, popping out babies. Oh, they're slave to the stove, popping out babies. No, I think that from a societal view,
I don't do the language.
We can have
I've got to go.
I'm
I'm
answering
really
your
late.
question.
I've got to go.
I'm answering your
Sorry,
question.
everyone.
All
I've
right,
got
listen,
to go.
you know what, Julie, everyone's going to go because we've reached the end of the panel. The only sadness for me is we can't all go and have a drink together because I think we'd all get on great over a few pints in a nice English pub. But maybe we'll leave that little treat for another time. Thank you all very much indeed for joining Uncensored.
As we see, this female activist is just absolutely incorrect. She blames the question that Piers Morgan gave, on which he asked that we see that the birth rates are plummeting dramatically in the United States because women being involved in work more, they're being less at the home, they're focusing less on the home, on the children, they're focusing more on career, they're focusing more on education, and relationships and home is not what they're focusing on anymore. What do you have to say in regards to that? And her answer is, well, many women don't have the finances from a man or the support from a man, and they don't have the leave or the support from their work, and specifically a lot of them are in abusive relationships, and a lot of women, they don't want to have kids because they don't want to be hitched to a man who's absolutely terrible. The answer that she's giving is that all men are just absolutely bad. And this is the common narrative amongst women nowadays, whether conservative or liberal, is that just all men are bad, all men are terrible. And there's no respect on the fact that men have done a great job building things, creating things for society that we all live in, men being providers, protectors. The narrative nowadays that men are terrible and men are bad, and that's where this woman stands. And Andrew Wilson did a good job trying to push against that, because that is a bad narrative for our society, that men are bad, women are bad, and we should just hate each other. It's absolutely ridiculous. Women have good benefits that help men. Men have good benefits that help women. We shouldn't try to be each other. We should try to be what we were born to be, and that's it. Hope you liked this video. Make sure you like and subscribe. See you on the next video.